Hello guys and welcome back to today's session. Today we're going to be talking about Helm chart again, which is the fifth video in the video series of Helm chart, how to write your own and custom Helm chart from scratch. Okay, so I don't want to do anything behind the screen. I just want to do everything with you so that you see how you can write something genius like this. So today we're just going to continue with something here. Okay, so if you remember, we had this structure in the past and we were able to see the content of the container running within the pod, which itself is being controlled by the replica cell that is being controlled by the deployment, and we were able to see the index.html of the pod running of the container running within that cluster, okay, which was just nothing but nginx. So today we're going to be expanded, okay, into a more high level content version of something that we need to do. So here, as you can see, I have the values, and in the values, well, let me show you what I have here. I have created this new entry, okay, which is config, and then inside config uh, I have index HTML, okay, block, and then that index HTML has a content for the index.html file that will be used to override the content of the index.html within the container that is running. And as you can see here, I also put some stuff here. For example, on the welcome, on the title, I'm saying welcome to, and then I'm putting the chart.name here, for example, which will be replaced by whatever is inside my chart.name right here. Okay, so right here, MonLabo Linux. So I'm doing that, and I suggest that we even title that. Okay, title, for example. Oops, I can't type it anymore. Okay, so we title that. So okay, so now you can see here I have the style, okay, the CSS style that is applied to it, and then down here I have the HTML file itself. Now what is that HTML file? So here I'm just doing a channel inventory of the recent video that I did on Helm chart, and as you can see here I have uh, uh, yeah, write your first custom Helm chart from scratch, that which is video 1, and then here is the link for it here, alright, that you can go online and visualize it. Here you have the second one, and so on and so forth. But for the fifth one, I'm actually doing the video, so there's no way we can have the link for that yet, right? So that's why here it says current. So now what I propose is that we use this HTML file content, okay, within this values.yaml file to override the content of the container that is having the index.html. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So for that, we first need to have what we call a config, okay, because here the the Docker file that was used to create that file, that image, okay, already put the default content there. So how do we override it? To override it, we have to use something like a config map. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead really quick on the template and create config maps. All right, dot yml, and then I will hit enter. So now that I've hit enter, I'm gonna go ahead and start writing that content. Okay, so I will start with API version. Oops, version. I can type. Okay, column, and then we put v1 here. Okay, start proposing already. I like it. No. For the name, anyway, we come back to that and see what we have. Okay, so let's have it. No, I don't really like this. All right, Yeah, I don't really like this. So I'm gonna remove that, and then we'll come, for example, to service and take the metadata that we have here. All right, all this metadata, and copy that into this one here. Okay, because it's just the same thing. So I will paste that there. All right, and here we will just make sure that is config map. Okay, cm. So let's say cmp. Okay, config map. So here we have the application, the label, the namespace, and then the name of the resource. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead. Oh my god. So now we're gonna go ahead and put the name of the file here. Okay, the name of the file that we want the config map to have. Okay, which will be the key. Okay, and then the content inside will be the value. So here, since we are trying to put something as a document, all right, as a document, so we have to put this YAML representation of something. So now it's good that we take this, but if we take value.config map.config index HTML, okay, and then we do new line indent of 4, it's going to go ahead and will not replace these values here. Okay, will not replace that. So I don't want that. We want something like TPL, for example. Okay, we learned that from the past. So we're gonna say something like, okay, so we put this, let me remove this guy, and then we will say TPL. Okay, and then now I can accept this one. All right, so this way my config map is ready. All right, so I can use that and create config map. But something is that I need to mount it right into the deployment where the container will have access to it. So what about going ahead and deployment? Okay, I didn't notice that. Probably some of you notice this, but it doesn't have E here. Okay, deployment. Okay, so now what we need to do is to go ahead and enter that here. Okay, so we want to go ahead and, for example, at the spec here, all right, on the volume, under the same, I mean, it will be a siblings of container. It will be a sibling of container, whatever we put there. So I just want to make sure that I go down like this. Okay, and then it is on top of n, so I will type enter and then be here. So now what we want to do is to call to initialize a volume. Okay, so we will say volume, but it won't be there because resource has stuff, okay, that is related to the resources that the container will run with. So we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is we want to come here and say that we are going to have a volume. Okay, all right, but for that volume, you know what, it's better I put the volume here. All right, so I will put the volume here at the same level as the container. So volumes, okay, so that's a Kubernetes type of things. And then here, I like what it is saying there, but let's see if that goes with what we want. So -n -name, okay, and then for the name that I want something really dynamic, right? So we will call that cm volume. All right, so whatever we do, we have to do something like this, and then yes, okay, that seems to be convincing. All right, it's going to call that volume. Nice. And then the name, so we have config map here, okay, and then this name here is just whatever we were. So put that like this. So and then this one we call like this, okay. So this name here, okay, right here, it's whatever we put down inside there. Okay, that's the same thing. But this one here, we can call it anyhow. Okay, so I can call that vol or whatever, for example, like to make it short. And then here I will have items. Okay, I want to mount, for example, these files one after another. So I will have items, okay, then keys, because I want to mount them one after another if I have multiple files, but I'm mounting a single file here, so I can do something like this and then put here path, and it's going to be the same thing. Okay, so you can go online and get that from a Kubernetes manifest, I mean website. And then down here, okay, down here I can even come here before that, okay, so that we don't have an issue. I can now say volume mount. Okay, and now for the volume mount, all right, we will call the same name that we pass here. That's the way that it will retrieve that one. Okay, and then we will also give the mount path, because nginx keeps its index.html file under /usr/share/in nginx/html. Okay, and then we will say that we want to pass a subpath. Okay, otherwise we create a directory, and that directory will have this name. Okay, so if we mount directly here, it's going to have the same thing with a directory, and it's not good. So we have to go into that directory to retrieve the file again. So now I will say, okay, yes, for sure, we can do a read-only mount. Okay, so this way now my config map is ready to be consumed by the container. So we have declared that as a volume here. All right, and now within the container we're able to mount it as a volume mount. Okay, which will have the property of read only. Okay, which means that it cannot be modified once it is there inside the container. So now, moment of truth. All right, so we have to deploy that. But before deploying, let's make sure that we don't have any error. So I will do ls, and that's why I say that I don't like this thing. So I will do ls, and as you can see here, I have the MonLabo Linux. Okay, I will go inside the directory of MonLabo Linux and type enter, and then from here we do ls. I can see that I have everything. Let me make sure that my Minikube cluster is up and running. Minikube status. Okay. Okay, I can see that the Minikube cluster is up and running, so that means that we are able to go ahead and do the job. So I will clear that. Okay, hit couple enter here, and alright, so let's go ahead and try. So let's first make sure that Helm link does not give any error from the current chart. And as we can see, it says that, okay, we have a warning here, I mean an info here, which is recommended, but it doesn't create any problem because we have zero chart fail. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do a dry run. Okay, so we just say dry dash run and call that. So I'm simulating whatever will happen, but before we do the dry run, let's do a Helm template, shall we? So Helm template, okay, to see what will be pushed to the cluster, and then we can analyze to see if there is anything that should happen or no. So I will say that, and then we call that my app. Okay, my app, and then if I hit enter, okay, everything is rendered appropriately. So now here we can see that we have the deployment. Okay, that deployment has the new volume that we mounted, okay, that we are declaring, and since we are pushing that to the dev environment, we have that with dev. Okay, so it's going to be called my app MonLabo Linux dev vol, which is the volume. Okay, and then here is going to be the config map. Okay, right here, and then here will be the items that we are mounting. And now the volume mount, or the volume mount, if we come here, we see that the volume mount is also following the same here as the way we treat the volume. And here we have the mount path. Okay, and from that mount path we have the sub path that will be there, and it's going to be made only. All right, and then the remaining stuff. So this means that it's good. Let's look at the config map. It's going to be a load balancer. For the config map, let's check. So for the config map here, we see that we have an HTML document, okay, that is there, and that is coming nowhere but from our config map, okay, as you can see. So we have the name of the config map as this, which is the one retrieved into the deployment, and here we can see that we are passing the index.html file, which will consume the content and will render everything. Okay, so you see welcome to MonLabo Linux, and you remember that we titled this, right? And here also within the inventory we have MonLabo Linux channel inventory, for example, and here we have product ID, product name, quantity, location. Okay, quantity, location. So as you can see here, for example, we have the product, so we have the product ID as P001, and then the product name as this one, the product the quantity is one, and then this. All right, so that means that we have our HTML document. But now let's go ahead and push that to the cluster and see if that will be installed. Okay, so we can go ahead and type install, and then we say dash atomic. Okay, dash atomic, and put the name of the it is giving some problem. Anyway, let's wait for a few minutes. If he goes, then it's okay, but if he doesn't go, we will change that. Okay, it seems that it's not going. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that, and we say that the installation failed. Okay, due to atomic. So we can do Helm list. Oops, list. Okay, and we see that nothing. So we're going to remove that atomic. For some reason, I don't know why it's not working on my side. So I'm just going to go ahead and type this, and then we will see here that we have my app. Okay, that has been successfully deployed. All right, revision 1, test suite 0, and so on and so forth. Then we have the release namespace, which is coming from our notes. So now we can do I will just type show resources. Okay, so Helm status, the name of the release that we enter, and then dash show resources, and then here we will see that it has the deployment, okay, which is this one. It has, okay, none of it is ready. For some reason it has a crash loop backup, so we need to check what is going on there. And then we have some other stuff. So let's go ahead and check what is going on with the pod. So kubectl get pod, and pod is in crash loop backup, so we will do kubectl describe, oops, kubectl describe pod, and then we will put this, and then here you will see that it says unable to start container process, error during container init, error mounting. Okay, it seems that it is not able to mount the volume. Okay, mount volume subpath and this and this. Okay, 0 to root fs as this. All right. So we have some stuff, destination, not a directory. So at the end we get something here that says not a directory. So where did I make a mistake? Okay, so let me check that for a minute, and then I will let you know where the mistake is. Okay, I think I just found the issue, so I just uninstalled the the actual uh, Helm Helm release. So what we are going to do is to not this, sorry, not this one, sorry. So what we are going to do is because here at the mount path I did not specify the name of this name here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that there. Okay, so if you add the file there, because it has to be like that for some reason, it should be like that, and then you add this as well there, and then now let's go ahead and try that. Oops. Okay, I need to uninstall the actual one, and now let's go ahead and install it. So as you can see, it is there. So let's see the resources again. Now we can see that we have the deployment, 1 out of 1 ready, and the container, the pod as well. So now let's go ahead and check. Okay, so we have the Minikube, I mean the load balancer here, okay, which is accessible, and the config map as well. So we have the config map here, so you can even do kubectl get config map or cm, okay, and then you will get this. All right, and then from there we can do this and say paste the name and then -o yml. Okay, so this will give us the content that is inside, and we can see that is from the YouTube and is from my index.html file. So now I'm going to go ahead and check that within this one, okay, because you remember we can access that only from the actual server for now. So if I go there and log in, okay, so I'm now connected to the server itself where Minikube is running. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I have Minikube up and running again just to make sure. Okay, so Minikube status, so let's wait for it. Okay, it says that it is running. Nice. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make my alias for kubectl. Okay, and then I will just I didn't need that one, so I will just say minikube tunnel. Okay, so you need to be root for that, so we'll type this and then we will hit enter, and it says profile not found. Minikube profile is okay, looks like did a mistake, so let me type like this and see. Okay, so looks like the service is up and running. We can see that here. So now let me go ahead and come here to this guy and do local, do local post and hit enter. And we can see that we have MonLabo Linux channel inventory. So here we have product ID as P001 and write your first custom Helm chart from scratch. Okay, and here is the video. For example, we can maybe attempt to check if we can see the video. And voila, that's the video. Okay, so if you like what you see, please consider leaving a thumbs up, subscribe, talk about this to one of your colleagues. It's a great project that you can put into your resume and showcase that to your employer. And also hit the notification bell and like or dislike. It helps the channel anyway. Thank you. Bye bye.